All right, so today I'm joined with my homie, the blogger homie,
Yeah, what's
DJ
up?
MTK,
What's up?
also
What's
known,
up?
first name is Ruben, right? So thanks for coming on today, man.
For sure, man. I'm excited to collab with you on this. I know I was just telling the homie about how you and I met, like super like out of nowhere.
Just sat next to you.
Bro, and I was hung over. I don't know if you know that.
No, I didn't, but I was like, oh, this guy's chill. Something about your vibe. That's why I'm having you on because I'm like, yo, we had a good vibe when we met.
I was dragging. And I
Really? I
partied like what day was that? Tuesday or Wednesday?
think it was like Wednesday, right? No, it
Yeah,
was even Thursday, I think. So you must have partied on Wednesday.
no, it was like Monday or Tuesday. Like I was like 2 days even before I was still dragging.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but I was like, okay, but I had like, I was still like on the up and up, but I was
Yeah.
like, all right, let me shake this shit off.
Some
But
residuals.
yeah, by Saturday when you saw me, I was like, I'm back.
What were you doing? Just partying out in San Diego, Pacific Beach or
Oh,
some shit?
yeah, it was something. I forgot what it was. Now looking back, I think it was the weekend after Labor Day weekend.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was Labor Day weekend, Monday. I was at a boat.
Okay. So then you're dragging throughout the week. I feel that.
Oh, dude, I was doing the most. Anyway,
Yeah, yeah. So we covered the event. We were chopping up the whole time. That was pretty fun. How'd you like that?
no, I thought it was, I'm usually very outgoing and feel like I can mix in anywhere. But I did feel nervous, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I think I was telling you, I just didn't want to go and embarrass myself, and I wanted to respect who the fighters and what they did. So I was very like careful on how I spoke to the fighters.
No, right. But when I went there and kind of saw everyone too, I was like, oh, this isn't like that bad. Like
Yeah,
they got some young bucks in there and shit like that. So I was kind of worried about the same thing though. Like worried about my tripod and setting up and shit like that. I
yeah,
was stressing. You saw me sweating a little bit when I came in too. Well, it was like also 100 degrees. You got to walk like a half
yeah,
mile.
yeah. It
But
was
yeah, I
really,
sat down. I'm like, fuck, I got to get this shit set up.
yeah, yeah,
Are you gonna do a little bit more content next time, as far as like maybe bring your tripod and like film some of
yeah,
the press conferences?
yeah. Now that I know what it is and how it kind of it's structured, yeah, I'm gonna kind of probably bring somebody else with me. Like I said, that day my photographer, his son had got sick, so I was planning on having him there with me, but everything worked out the way it should have been, though.
Yeah, dude, I don't have anyone. I need to get a photographer or something. Once I get a little bit more my bread up, I'm making a little bit right now, but hopefully soon I can get a photographer and shit.
Oh, I bet if you just like put a message out on your Instagram, like, hey, looking for videographers in the area who want to collab with me, man, I bet you get all kinds of DMs.
Yeah, I tried a while ago, and then I kind of got nobody ever responded when I had like 20K followers, but I got more now. So
That's surprising. That's surprising.
yeah,
There's a lot of hungry
I was
people.
surprised.
Yeah, there's a lot of hungry people. I think that's try it again.
Okay. I'm actually gonna start. I'm gonna go on like I forget what those websites are, but where you can hire workers from other countries and shit.
Yeah,
I'm
like
about to hire a couple guys from like the
Fiverr,
Philippines,
Fiverr.
Fiverr and shit. Yeah. I need a couple like overseas editors, like $5 an hour type shit. That's what I'm about to get started.
Oh, like AI pretty soon is going to do all that for you at a very minimal cost. It's
Yeah.
literally around the
I'm a
corner.
little behind on the AI.
It's around the corner, bro, where you could just kind of describe what you want. It inputs it for you on Adobe Pro. I think that's like $20 a month, and it spits it out for you like very fast.
Are you using that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Because I have the Adobe subscription for everything, so I could just download it.
yeah, yeah. And you can write it off next year.
Yeah, yeah. I'm about to start writing off shit because I got some income coming in from YouTube finally.
Yep. So we're talking the same language.
Yeah, we're on the up and up. What's going on with West Coast Radio? Tell me about that a little bit.
So yeah, West Coast Radio. I mean, we've been doing this for over 5 years. We're a digital entertainment company, and we primarily have focused the brand with music, which would be rap and house music.
Hmm.
From there, really, it started just by a few friends of mine that were going to festivals and like DJs in Las Vegas, and then another homie that's here in Dago that was a rapper. And so he's just taking me all kinds of events. Um, Both of them, one of them lost his life, and then the other one ended up going to prison. And at the time, I was like, man, I really want to continue the legacy, but in a positive manner. Like, how can I take what they were teaching me and kind of put it, into action? And so then we end up running. Ended up starting building our SoundCloud account, And like right now, I think our SoundCloud's like at 100,000.
Mm.
And we started building playlists. So DJ MTK stands for Mixtape King. So as we were doing playlists and building them, people were like, dude, this is like a mixtape. And mixtape just started just sticking with me. MTK just started sticking with me. And then we started working with record labels and artists like, hey, how can you feature us on your playlist? Then we started kind of going into Spotify and YouTube, understanding, going to events and festivals. So that's really like the base of the business. And then, you know, the MMA side of it really started due to the fact that me and my partner, co-host, Ray, you know, we've been talking UFC since like Chuck Liddell, Anderson Silva, like back in the day shit. And we were more like, dude, like we would jump on calls all the time after a big UFC fight. And I was like, one day I was just like, bro, why are we not recording this? Like, we're having really in-depth conversations.
Yeah,
Like,
same with all me and my homies too, all the time
yeah.
at the gym and shit like that. Yeah.
And so at the time, this was about a year ago, I was like, dude, let's just add the sports division on the network. It's like, why? We already know what we're doing. Let's just add it. And so then we started building and we started thinking about the name. I was really trying to, you know, looking at all these other Junkie, Guru, World, all these different names. And so little by little, I was like, okay, I know it wants to be a West Coast thing. I know it wants to be for the culture. What's something that we can build a brand around under the network that kind of hits those things. And so homie just like, I think we were on the phone one time and I was like, man, homie, all right, I'll talk to you later. And I thought about it, I was like, dude, MMA homie. I was like, damn, that represents the culture, represents the West Coast. Like it's just our swagger, our slang, and I feel like within the MMA community, there's not a lot representing the culture. There's a little bit, but not a lot. And so, especially from the West Coast, especially from the West Coast too, and that's another reason why I wanted to go to the Bellator event, because like I wanted to see who else out here is doing what we're doing, that was cool to see that side of it. And then, yeah, just little by little, just plugging and playing how we built the network in general and trying to apply it to this side. And it's funny, someone told me the other day, is like, you guys are like a dark horse. And I started thinking about it. I was like, why are we a dark horse? Like we're a brown horse, maybe. I was like, but I feel like we know exactly what we're doing and we're applying it, and some of it's working. And so, it's been fun. It's been a fun ride so far.
Yeah. So you and just a couple
like Parry Punch. I want to be like Parry Punch.
Oh, hell yeah, bro. Hell yeah. It seems like we're on the same wave. I wasn't sure if West Coast Radio is like an actual kind of like some business that you just got hired at, or if it's something you kind of created. So you and the homies kind of like created this whole thing basically.
Yeah. Like, I mean, you see all these names back here?
Yeah.
All the rappers and artists that have been in here, and DJs like Dom Dollar, I think, is up there. He played at Coachella in fucking he's from Australia.
Okay.
Yeah, like that dude's big. That dude's big.
Yeah,
big.
I see him right up there.
Yeah. So like, yeah, on the music side, it's interesting, as people have asked us too, how have you gotten a couple of those interviews? I was like, dude, you don't know some of the stuff we've had to do behind the scenes to get interviews with rappers and DJs, the levels of things you have to do to go through management teams and record labels, or go to events and get press passes. Like, we've been through all of that fire and are now able to understand how to do it within this side of the industry and this side of the business. But this is a little bit different though. But it's because we're still trying to get our name out there. And I think people are like, okay, who are these guys exactly? But I'm fine with that. As time goes on, it's a marathon. Like Lipsy said, we're not here on the sprint. We're here for the marathon. We'll be here for a minute doing this shit.
No, I like the name too. I think it's one that's going to work. Same with mine, kind of. Certain names you can kind of see, like the new accounts that pop out, people kind of fuck with them a little bit. I kind of personally, from an outside perspective, I like MMA homie a lot. I think it's going to catch on quick. I saw Bryan Battle even like reposted you and shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
See, those are the conversations I want to have, because I could just tell by his swag and his slang. Like, you feel me? Like, that's second nature to us.
Right. Right.
Like, even with like Charles Energy Johnson, and like there's a few names like in the top of my head. I was like, man, I cannot wait to sit down with you. Like, they're gonna see what we're doing. Like, oh, these are the homies though.
Right. Dude, that's why I love even talking to like Joaquin Buckley and shit like that. Just because they're the homie, they talk like with the culture and shit like that. And I love it, man. I love it. Yeah. It's way more original than a lot of these other guys. And that's kind of personally, like, with my way of looking at it, fighting is kind of from the trenches, like from nothing. And this kind of sport has become a little bit of like a college educated, like this different type of thing. And so I'm kind of like trying to bring back roots like that, you know, like I guess that's the culture, if you will. But like just kind of even like when I'm posting rap and shit like that, like if you notice, I'll be posting like hip songs and shit like that, like new rap songs, like posting Young Boy and shit like that. Because I none of these blogs do it, bro, and that's what makes us really stand out.
Yeah, and you know what? And yeah, you're right. This side of the industry hasn't doesn't have that type of flavor to it.
No, not at all.
And that's why I think there's definitely a lane for it. And that's what makes it exciting. I think that's really what makes it really exciting too.
Yeah, and even like if you look at a guy like Ariel, right? He's accomplished a lot, done his thing. I guess after being in this industry, I'm kind of like not as impressed with him as I used to be, but I respect him at the end of the day. I just kind of the thing why I don't really fuck with him, I guess, as heavily is because he's not really like fucking with, you know, the current new hip culture. He's not in tune with that. He kind of does his own thing. And you know, that's fine, but it's kind of like
Yeah,
the
you know,
outside person, sorry, real quick. The
yeah,
outside person, like my homies, they look at Ariel and they're like, yo, why the fuck you listening to this guy? Like off the appearance type talking base, you know,
yeah.
like you don't got anybody who talks with slang, you know. So I think that's where we're kind of creating our own lane. And maybe that's why we fuck with each other a lot. I'm just kind of like figuring this out now.
Yeah, you know what's interesting with Ariel? There was known about him, but started really watching him about a year ago. Like honestly, bro, Mondays religiously, I tap in.
Yeah.
Doing the best interview. I love when Rampage goes on there. I like his back and forth with Chael. Now, what I saw on the media side was like, for example, when Ariel said, Ariel was talking some shit to Chael. And for me, it's like the media guys, almost like Adam 22, they hide behind this microphone. And I didn't grow up that way. I think that's really the big difference for me is like your words can have consequences.
I'm kind of that same way.
Yeah. However, in this industry, and this is a great topic actually, in this industry, media in general, because Adam 22 does the same fucking bullshit.
Mm-hmm.
Adam 22 will hide behind, like a Jerry Springer will hide behind, oh, look at, I'm just asking the questions. Oh, whoa, whoa. Don't, yeah, I'm just a journalist. Like, nah, bro, like you can't come at certain people at a certain tone and not think that a fighter doesn't have the right to kind of like put you in check. So when
Right.
he said something to Chael, I'm like, bro, Chael would fuck you up in real life. Like,
Mm-hmm.
how do you even have the audacity to speak to a Hall of Famer like that? But I understand they have history, and it's kind of more in joking, and I think I take things a little bit too serious me sometimes, you know what I mean? Like, or maybe I should tone it down a little bit, but that just comes from the history of my background and the way I grew up and the way, you can't talk to certain people a certain way or things will happen.
Yeah.
Like
I no, I think the same type of thing. And I think with Ariel, the thing that I guess what you're kind of pointing out is like, you know, with somebody who, let's put it like this, right? With somebody who can really fuck you up, you can't just escalate it to the highest extent and hiding behind a mic, right? Hiding behind like the assault, but then you're escalating this person to the highest extent. To me, that doesn't make sense. It's like you're hiding behind a little, what do you call it? A rule. You know what I'm saying?
I'll give you a perfect example. And I hate to get started on stuff like this. It's, when before the civil rights movement and before segregation, the police had the authority and the means to basically fuck you up. Now, once slaves were free, people of color, it was like, oh, they were thinking, what's going to be the repercussion? So they're very, very fast to put you in jail because then it was like, well, you're an animal. You can't control your emotions. Dude, you've been fucking killing people for fucking the past fucking centuries and shit.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden, let's play nice. Let's be Mr. Nice Guy. You better control your emotions. It's almost like what's his name? Skip Bayless and Shannon Sharp when they would get into it on FS1. It's like, dude, you can't talk to a Hall of Famer like that, bro. Like you're
No.
out of pocket. That's not like there's certain things out of pocket, but people can hide behind this and they can hide behind like assault shit. You know what I mean? And
Right.
behind like you can't control your emotions. See, that's a manipulative thing. You know what I
And
mean?
it's
Like
also the thing of if they get you to go to that highest extent, which is physically assault them on camera in front of everybody, then they count it as a win. To me, I don't like that.
Yeah, you know, we're talking, and it was interesting. I was watching that Vince McMahon documentary I did on Netflix. You know
Same
the
here.
dude that slapped the fucking reporter,
Right.
bro.
Vince slept. Oh yeah, yeah.
You can't fuck with certain people, bro.
Right.
Certain people, they don't think that way.
Right.
That dude would, you could just tell he'll fuck you up on spot. He don't give a fuck.
Right. But then there was the lawsuit.
There was a lawsuit, right?
Yeah.
There was a lawsuit. So there was all the, but they come from two different worlds,
Facts.
you know, and you try to get these guys to go into the same world and talk the same respect level, you know. And you use certain words, like if you call someone a bitch, nah, dude, that's a fighting word right there. Like that's like a no-no.
Right.
But in today's world, you could say shit like that to it behind the microphone. Like imagine if someone said that to Joaquin Buckley in his face, bro. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's you're testing the wrong guy, and then you're putting him in that position.
But then if you hear about it and you get assault charges, oh, he couldn't handle his emotions.
Right.
He wasn't in control. He's, you know, he's not like a respectable person now.
Exactly.
So what I mean, this is what I mean with like the media shit. It's interesting to me to see how people talk to these. And nowadays, you know, it is for clicks. So, you know, they just have the TwitchCon here in San Diego. Bro, they were going wild. They're going wild. Like you need, we're at a point in with social media where like people want to die just to get the views.
Yeah. No, and I even had a couple guys come on or like DM me about some shit. You know, I don't really want to air them out. I'll air them out to you in person. But how do I put it? They reached out to me, right? And I could argue back or some bullshit like that, but I just de-escalated the situation. I'm not trying to argue with you. You're a fighter, bro. I respect you. That's why I kind of got into this, you know? Like,
Right.
I'm not trying to question your manhood and shit. Like, I respect you. If I upset you or something like that, you know, I'll explain it. One of the guys, I was like, yo, man, it's just all good fun. You know, it's just all good fun. Respect both ways. I'm just having fun with it. I got to get the engagement up. I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all. And in fact, I'll interview your guys. And he's like, all right, bro, fair enough. Fair enough. And then his guy won. I reached out to him. I said, yo, can I get your guy on? And it worked out. So
It's
got to be real.
Yeah, you know, there's that. And it's interesting too, because you want to interview certain people, but then it's like if someone loses and you're reporting on it, right?
Right.
And they see it and they're gonna take it a certain way. They're gonna like, hey, dude, like, hey, I thought we were cool. What the fuck? Like you feel like you get thrown under the bus at your worst time too, you know?
Yeah.
Especially a lot. So it's interesting too, even with me, like seeing this and like, okay, how do I want to kind of report on this? I feel Brendan Allen's a perfect example. Like, bro, I was high on Brendan Allen.
Me too.
And I was like, fuck, dude, like, don't get me wrong. Like, you can come back from that, but I expected so much more from him. And I'm sure he feels disappointed in himself as well, you know?
Yeah.
Sure, no one can be harder than yourself when you wake up the next day. And I felt like he probably woke up that next day very disappointed in his own self. He knew he could have done better. I'm sure he could have.
Did you see his post though? He said he was like, somewhere along the way he lost himself. I personally, like, you know, if we're breaking shit down right now, I'll say it. First thing that came to mind is his new girl. I don't know if he fell in love, but maybe that could be, you know, when these guys fall in love and you know, going in between relationships. I think he left his last girl and then he got a new girl, so he's dealing with heartbreak, getting with a new lady.
You know, we're all human.
All human. But I think that's might be what he's referring to when he's like, I lost myself a little bit. I got to find myself again, like lock back in.
You know, but I'll even add another layer to that is like, you know, you're on a 7-fight win streak, right? You almost get to a point where you feel untouchable.
Right.
And so you get kind of put back down to earth, like, all right, we may need to go back to the whole drawing table and scratch everything up and start the fuck over. I was just watching that Tom Brady quote about Baker Mayfield. And did you see that?
No, I didn't.
I have to send it to you, dude. I mean, Tom Brady's what? The GOAT, right?
GOAT.
Right. And Baker Mayfield went on in a podcast and said, you know, Tom Brady had everybody stressed the fuck out. Tom Brady went and said, well, for me being stressful was not winning Super Bowls. He was so consumed with winning, bro. Like that's all he had in his mind. And I think a lot of it, Sean O'Malley.
Right.
Man, I don't know what he was thinking, honestly. Like you really you were at a point where you could have been a legend, the next Connor, to the point where it's like now you're like, who? When are you gonna get back there?
Facts. I think he dabbled too much in that fucking celebrity world, if you ask me. Getting
You
sponsored
do,
by Jake Paul.
you have an opportunity, right? There's these little windows to become
Facts.
legends. Alex Pieta this weekend, but he's gonna have an opportunity right now to become a legend.
Right.
And I always see people don't talk shit about Anderson Silva, but they don't like understand what he really did.
Oh, I do.
Right. But when he went in there, he demolished people. And he had, I just think he still has the most consecutive title championships in a row.
Yeah, because I think Kamaru was going to beat it, and he didn't.
So Anderson's problem, he's a GOAT. His thing was that he just got he's too cocky, bro.
He got cocky.
But that was him. Even like how Sean O'Malley like put his hands down and shit like that. That's just Anderson. And it finally bit him in the ass.
Yeah.
And I always felt like that's why GSP is such a legend, because he knew exactly the right time when to retire and say, you know what, I'm done.
Right.
And that's for fighters to do. We see all of them still trying to chase it. It's a high, you know what I mean? It's a high that they get on, and I understand that. You know what I mean? Like and especially with fighters, if that's all you know, what do you resort to when you retire? You know, and now they're doing the media and stuff like that, giving you another lane. But it's so interesting, you know, circle back around with Brandon Allen, you know, when you get the loss and to become great, you really need to look yourself in the mirror and start, you know, finding your motivation.
Right. But dude, we can't gloss over the fact that the French commission completely fucked him.
I agree.
Let's call it spade a spade. Dana's in here, bro. I was laughing. I'm like, bro, make it make sense, Dana. Like, I respect you. And I was actually sorry, I might go off tangent, but I'll circle it in. Like, I was also gonna say about trying to operate with fighters, right? I think because we touched on that, and I have to think the same way, because we're guys who are actually not just like internet type things. We're putting our face out there. We want to like go show up to these events and like make relationships. But you see a lot of these other accounts, they just fucking be posting like whatever the fuck they want because they don't have any intentions on like building relationships. So with that being said, right, I was trying to be
the business side of it though.
Yeah, I don't even think they make money, to be honest with you. But it seems like you and me both, we're in the same thing where we're trying to like, you know, actually create a real business. Yeah. And that, you know, that's our advantage. A lot of these guys aren't trying to start a real business. And at the end of the day, we're going to succeed with that. But to tie that all in is, I was laughing my ass off about Dana talking about the French commission being like, you know, it's true, it happened, and I completely understand how they feel that way, but it's not true. And I'm like, dude, Dana, like, chill the fuck out, dude. Just side with fucking Brendan. I don't know what happened here.
Yeah, I mean, it just make fair.
Like, I don't know what the point in saying it was not true. Brandon's entitled to his opinion that they fucked him and that they're corrupt. That's his opinion based off what happened to him. So that can't not be true. Of course, like, Brendan saying they're corrupt doesn't make them corrupt. So, like, I think Dana was putting too much weight on that. But the real thing is, like, bro, you held him back. I actually looked into this shit. Brendan, I rewatched that video 3.5 hours later, he said. He goes, 3.5 hours later, I'm going back up to my room. Bro,
on his Instagram story?
On his Instagram, in that viral video, he said 3.5 hours later. And it's like, Jim Miller, I don't know if you watched the whole clip because Jim Miller was fucking, you know, talking way too much. Jim Miller's got to work on that. But Jim Miller said that by forcing them to re-speed up the hydration process, it forces them to dump water again, which actually is like counterintuitive. Like, that's why rehydrating is something that's like calculated. Like, you do these fluids with the carbs.
Yeah.
And so by making them guzzle water to be able to piss, forced him to drain more water, and he probably didn't rehydrate properly that night. And now he's going in to fight Nasruddin. So putting that out there for everybody, you know what I'm saying? The French commission fucked him.
Okay. I see where you're going with that. Yeah,
right.
No, it definitely is another layer that you have to add to the equation, and that fighter didn't have to go through that. So,
not to take away from Nasruddin, but it's like, bro, you guys can't be doing that. I'm just talking straight up about he was probably going into that fight less hydrated than he should have been. You know?
It makes it's a huge deal. That's
a huge deal.
Huge deal. It takes probably 10 to 20% away of who you really your full strength.
Right. So,
I get it. I get it.
Fucking spend 20 minutes in the sauna. I do that pretty often and I'm like dying. I have to get out of there. You know what I'm saying? So these guys, imagine that shit. Um, with Nasruddin though, respect, man. Brendan did have kind of a at some point he was just shooting for those takedowns, but again, he might have been exhausted, and I'm sure he probably was getting gassed out standing up, so he has to keep shooting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I'm interested to see how he rebounds from this because I think he's better than Imavov. I just do.
I thought, honestly, if I'm being real, yeah, I thought Brendan was going to take that one, but
That's why
I don't know.
that's why they go in the ring, right?
Right? They got to find out. And now it's like Imavov, he wants Sean Strickland over a title shot. But Sean wants to sit there for the title shot next. So we'll see what's going to happen with Imavov. I'm honestly not too invested in his career. I'm just being real.
Or Imavov.
Yeah.
I mean,
Respect to him, but I'm just telling you the truth.
yeah. I don't know where I sit. I'm interested to see where things shake out. I'm interested to see what things about Dricus. They don't have him lined up yet, right?
They don't. I mean, it's seeming like they're going to run back.
What's the next big main middleweight fight?
Whitaker and Kamzat's the big one.
So I'm sure Robert Whitaker's like, if I win this one, I should get a chance of the run. Sean Strickland's waiting to say, okay, well, I should get a chance at that. Whoever wins, you got Bob kind of stepping in. Yeah, we'll see where things really do shake out because Chimaev, still like ranked number 8 or number 10 or something.
Yeah. What do you think about Chimaev? He's a little bit of he's been a flop as of late. I mean, he wins, but it's like, dude, Chimaev, you have not really been able to capture what you gave us in the beginning.
Yeah, I think he needs to go on a 2 to 3 fight win streak to kind of be in that position to say, okay, I am ready to do this championship run. I mean, I'm here for it if he can put it together. He's backed out of he hasn't been available, right?
He's been getting sick and shit. And to speak to that, I've been thinking it was overtraining because I've worked out too much at times, and I noticed at one point in time I was like, fuck, dude, I'm getting sick because I'm like working out too much, like 5 days in a row or shit like that. Then like I'm starting to get sick, especially when you sweat a lot. Like, because I was doing the sauna, because these fighters, I get like inspired. I want to go in there and like fucking hit a 20-minute sauna session after like a workout. But by draining all that fluid and dehydrating yourself like on a really consistent basis without the rest, your immune system gets zapped. Right. So I'm pretty sure now that he's with a new team, I'm really, hopeful. But if I'm being real too, Kamzat, I was really high on him, and now I'm like,
the thing
not
is
all the talent, but
they have youth. He has youth on his side. He has talent on his side. I mean, I'm looking at it, Brahalo. I mean,
Kaio.
I'd love to see what he does next. You got Izzy. Izzy's on his back 9. Sean Strickland, but he has a few more years on him. Dricus, he's in a good place right now. We'll see what Robert Whitaker does with this versus Chimaev. It's going to shake shit up. See what Brandon Allen gets next in front of him as well. Yeah. I mean, we're gonna see.
We're gonna see.
Yeah.
Speaking to that though, by the way, how much time you got? Like, because we're just kind of chopping up, but if you got to go, let me know like the time that you're probably looking to head out.
Probably like 20 minutes.
20 minutes, okay. So we'll do 20 more minutes. What is that? 4 o'clock, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let me ask you this, because I'm sure you're gonna edit this, right?
Yeah, but we probably don't have to edit too much.
Do you just because I'm sure you're not going to put this into the conversation.
No, I'll edit this out.
Yeah. Do you want to jump onto another topic, another thing? Because that was a good flow. That was a really good flow.
That was good. But yeah, I want to start talking about more of the Buckley and shit like that, some other things. But to that, right? I was just gonna say Kamzat's young, and I think that we should kind of stop treating him as this second coming champion right now. Let him just fight these guys. Like, let him fight Kaio. Even giving him Robert is a little bit too much for him right now. I feel like let him fight Kaio, all these like guys, knock him off. And then once some of these fights happen between like Strickland, Imavov, Dricus, and Whitaker and shit, once those guys kind of like fade out, then you got prime Kamzat, who's just been basically like how Charles Oliveira did. Once the guys phase out, then you got Kamzat, who just beat 12 guys in a row, these crazy finishes, and he gets the title shot. that's kind of, I think there should be more sandbagging, personally.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that. I think that only thing that he needs to prove to everybody, and I'm sure to Dana and Hunter as well, is that you're gonna fight when you need to fight. I
Right.
think, but the past 2 out of 3 fights he had to back out of, and like you said, he may have changing some of the scenery around him. So hopefully that resolves that.
Right.
Because if that starts becoming more of a pattern, it's hard to take you seriously at that point. It's like, okay, what are we really doing here? What are you even really doing for yourself? So hopefully that's an easy fix because
Right.
I'm sure he wants to fight. I mean, most fighters are fighters, right? So no one wants to be on the sideline, not
Facts.
making money. So those training camps aren't free.
No, but he gets bags from the government in Chechnya or some shit. But
Yeah.
we'll get into that one another time. We'll touch back on some topics. I think what you texted me, right? So let's touch on yours first. Buckley and DC.
Yeah, that was interesting because I can see both men's point of view.
Yeah.
A Joaquin felt Buckley felt a certain way after DC said, "Hey, called him out about his Conor McGregor, about his mom." I can see that, and I think that Buckley kind of is in a hard place because you have to justify what you're saying to a legend, right? DC's
Right.
not some chump. Buckley's not answering to me. Like it's like if I'm questioning Buckley, be like, dude, whatever, fuck you, bro. I don't give a fuck what you think.
Right.
DC's a different beast, though. Not because he's in the media world, because behind closed doors,
You have to respect him.
I mean, he's fought the best of the best, right?
Right.
He's deserves that.
Right.
Now, the fact that he's throwing his opinion out there, it's almost like an older uncle, like saying, hey, young buck, like, hey, I'm just trying to give you some game. I'm not trying to be disrespectful. And Buckley took it a certain way. He took it as disrespect.
He did. The
And so,
misquote. That's
yeah,
what he took as disrespect.
and Buckley today, when they were, he was talking is like, when we talked, it was in front of cameras. I'd rather have that conversation off camera. I respect that. As
Yeah.
a man to man, I respect that. And I'm sure that he probably could have just said, hey, when the camera shut off, it's not like they're just dragging you out of there. I'm sure you have an ability right then and there to be like, hey, hold up. Let's talk real quick then. You know what I mean? Let's
Yeah.
clear this out between us. On that interview that they did, DC made some great points to what they put on air, of what DC saw. And just as a family, I felt like it was like like I said, I felt like it was an uncle talking to his younger nephew. Like
Yeah. I
I'm not
saw that comment on that. Yes, I think I saw that comment. Like, telling his nephew, like, if you just respect me again, I'm gonna fuck you up or something like that.
I mean, don't get me wrong, but I mean, Buckley could. I mean, I don't know where DC's at in his career right now, and he's in his 40s. Buckley's in the prime of his life, right?
Right.
Like,
It'd be
I don't think
scrap.
that either one of them would ever want to get to that point. I'd
No.
rather see them both, talk it out like brothers, and maybe they did, and they were able to kind of lower the temperature now, and see each other's point of view. Because I've been in situations like that too, where it's like I was kind of wrong, but it was hard for me to kind of admit that in public.
Yeah.
You know?
I think the thing about okay, so I think I don't want to cut you off. You got
Go ahead, go ahead.
okay. I think the thing about Joaquin is like he's just a little bit raw. That's what I've noticed about him. He's raw. He's not even one of these contender series guys. Like he really got signed off his real fighting, and he was never, I don't think, really prepared for all of this. So he's pretty raw with it.
Yeah.
I think that does get him in trouble though, because I think he was even on there with DC, and like he was kind of like shit. Like he told DC his point, right? And then DC fired back, and I think he was like, okay, like you got me there. But at
Yeah.
the same time, I get where he was coming from too, where he's like, but I gotta respond as like the entertainer side. Because DC was like, I called you a pussy because you disrespected my mom. And Joaquin was like,
Connor's mom, right?
say again?
Connor's
No. Um, so basically, Joaquin said that Connor's mom raised a hoe.
right,
DC went on his podcast and said you called Connor's mom a hoe.
right.
Joaquin got mad at that and said, since you want to say that I called Connor's mom a hoe and misquote me, your mama's a hoe.
Yeah.
And then Daniel said, shut up, pussy.
Okay.
And so they just talked about that on the episode. And then Joaquin was like, no, I understand that I insulted your mom, kind of like, I get that part. And he was like, but too, this is where the entertainment comes in. He can't take the L in public online, so he has to respond. So some of this bullshit media, right, forced them into this stuff because, that's the thing. You can never back down, right, on camera. And that's
Yeah.
what happened there.
That's interesting. That's I can see both sides. I can
Yeah.
I can see my side where I'd be like, DC's like, bro, there's certain things you just don't say.
And Joaquin's like, I guess, yeah, I broke that rule, but I
Yeah.
couldn't help myself. I had to keep my public image good.
And if you think about what Joaquin has done, he's put his name in a lot of people's mouths that nobody knew who the fuck he was. When he had the fight before, and he was it UFC 300 when he went and he talked to during the media day, or was it the
Yeah.
press conference?
Yeah.
Those type of antics, those type of things that you do to get your name out there even more. Like I get it. Like now look what you're doing. You're fighting and you're backing it up with wins.
Right.
You lose. It's like when Renato, you lose, none of this shit matters.
Facts.
You win. Oh, keep running it. Keep fucking running it. Keep fucking running it. You can run your mouth all fucking day.
Yeah.
And Dana doesn't give a fuck what you say anyway. So I can I can really see both sides of it, and it's interesting to see in real time.
Yeah, it is for sure. So I guess they squashed it though. It seemed like even towards the end of that episode, Joaquin was like, "Look, I hope you don't think I was trying to like be a dick and shit like that. Like I think he was really trying to turn it into like let's just train and like turn it into like a little like squash our beef in the gym, but we're just like friendly now." And I think DC was pissed about his mom.
I mean, who wouldn't be?
Who would? Yeah, it's fair. DC said he's like something goes into me when you bring up my mom. He's like DC said it, and you got to respect it.
Everybody, right?
You got to respect
it. Hate your mom.
Yeah,
like, fuck that bitch. Yeah,
dude. Sometimes I imagine I'm like, dude, if someone disrespected my mom in front of me, sometimes I imagine that shit. I'm like, I could not live with myself if I let that shit fly.
Those are facts, and being imagine a fighter at the highest level where you can fuck anybody up.
Yeah, double
like
champ.
Yeah, I mean it's just there's certain things you just don't say, and I think maybe I think if Buckley were able to do it again, he probably would take it back. Probably
right.
walk behind a little bit. Maybe he went a little too far.
Yeah. Maybe he did. Maybe he got caught up in the moment. He was riding that win, Like I said, he's a raw dude. So I fuck with him, man. I think he's got a good heart. He was even telling DC, he's like, I got raised by women. So this was also Joaquin's point why he got so pissed. He's like, I'm raised by women, big mama's boy, and then his grandma also raised him. So he was like, when you said that I called Connor's mama hoe, that made me look bad to my grandma. So that's why he got so upset. So, it's this whole thing. And I'm just happy they got to talk it out, because they both have points. You know what I'm saying?
It's long overdue. And they're both brothers from the same fraternity.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd rather see them friends because they can help the culture so much more together.
Right. Well, I guess we got to just say it real quick. Fucking Buckley was like also the big thing. He's like, DC hasn't put on for one brother in the UFC. While they were beefing because he was butthurt at the time. So DC's like, I did put on a couple brothers.
DC's very like diplomatic, like earn your way.
Yeah.
He's very like that old school type of guy, like earn your way. And DC's not innocent either. All the shit talking he did with John Jones and shit, like he's crossed a few lines as well, right?
Yeah,
he's
facts.
In a lot of this as well. So he gets it. I think I really see him as that older uncle, like trying to share game to somebody, like listen to me, and the younger guy, like, dude, I'll figure it out on my own. Fuck you, like, I'll see you around the way when I get, when I retire. But right now I'm in my prime. Fuck it.
Yeah.
And it's hard to argue with youth when you're just like a young bull just ready to fucking take over the world.
Yeah, and I'll give you a little introspective on Joaquin, and then we'll move on to the next topic. We got about 12 minutes left. But a little introspective on Joaquin. This is the type of dude you're dealing with, right? I was listening to his Joe Rogan podcast. By the way, highly recommend you listen to it. The guy's got a crazy life story.
Okay.
Um, but basically, long story short, he was his dad didn't raise him, but basically his mom passed away. His grandma raised him. His grandma got to a point where she was like, you're rebellious in a way, and I need a man to kind of step in. I was kind of like that with my mom too, a little bit. So kind of like I need a man to like tell you what to do because us boys we have a hard time listening to our mom and shit. So anyway, his dad tried to step in for a little bit, but didn't really have that relationship. And long story short, these two were in the fucking kitchen together, and his dad was like, "Yo, you got to respect your grandma. Like you can't be doing this shit." And he's like, "And what? Like, what are you gonna do about it?" And his dad's like, I think his dad said like, "I'm gonna fuck you up if you like want to keep disrespecting." And
Right.
Joaquin was like, "Do something then or something." I think Joaquin said he threw the first punch, and he
Really?
fucking socked his dad or something. But his dad like beat him up. Like I think his dad like took him down and like smashed his head into the fucking ground or something.
Yeah.
And Joaquin like was I think it ended. His dad was like, "You want to get in the car?" And then Joaquin's like, "Fuck, like yeah." Like he got his ass beat though. But dude, this guy stepped up to his dad when he was young, so he is the kind of guy he's got to learn. He seems like the guy he's got to learn. But I fuck with him heavy, dude. He's a cool dude.
Oh yeah, for sure. Like you said, I think if you go to the core, he has a good heart.
Right.
I think that you know that this world, this entertainment industry side of it, you have these blurred lines because you want to be able to be an entertainer, and sometimes to do that, you have to cross and say things that maybe you wouldn't normally say.
Right.
I even say it all the time. WWE and UFC have kind of, not because if they blended their companies, it's blended the storylines. The better the more chaotic the storylines, the more we all want to watch.
Right.
Sean Strickland in the crowd going over and jumping on Dricus. You could use all that. Dude, they had that shit fucking immediately ready to go as
Nice.
a promo. You know what I mean? Like,
I got a
and
lot of followers off of that.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like, it's a crazy thing, but at the end of the day, and Dana I think says this all the time, those two men, two women, they get to step in that cage and really figure it out.
Right.
Really get to figure it out. And I think that's why, it's such a great sport because yeah, hey, we're gonna find out then. We're gonna find
We're
out. I
gonna
like
find
Bryan
out.
Battle said, hey, come get it if you want it. Come get
Yeah.
it if you want it. You gotta have that attitude.
Yeah, Bryan Battle's surging too. I think him and Joaquin, that's a collision course waiting to happen. I say let them kind of like
Are
stay
they both
apart
in
for
the
now.
are they both in welter? Joaquin's in a welterweight? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
It's that's a dad, man. I could talk welterweight division all day too.
Shark Tank.
Yeah, I was, that's a good word for it. I was, just since we're kind of talking about it real quick, even the guys that I have on the rise, I mean, Shavkat, White, JDM. I'm interested to see what happens with Ian Gary. But I have a feeling Buckley's going to get this win, may creep into the top 10. But these Michael Morales as well. So you got five. Sean Brady, let's add him as well. Sean
And
Brady,
Carlos Freitas.
Carlos Pratas behind the scenes. He's not in the top 15 yet, but there's these other guys too. I actually have a list on it. I'll share it with you because I know you and I talked about it personally
Mhm.
about these welterweight guys, and I was like, hold on, let me go back to this list that I created. Fighters on the rise, and actually shout out to one of our homies, Vaughn. He's doing this Wall Street rising stocks and declining stocks for fighters. Like, oh, I like that. That's real creative.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fire.
yeah, and I like the whole stock thing because I like to like buy call options and shit like that. So,
Yeah.
uh, but the fighters I have on the rise, and a lot of them are in the welterweight division, is
I mean, you got Battle lurking, Freitas lurking. I was looking at it right now. Like the whole top 25 is pretty stacked.
Randy Brown,
Yeah.
Carlos Prates. I believe Peyton Talbot's in that division as well.
No, no. Payne
Yeah.
Taylor's 135.
Okay, he's lighter. Okay, that's my bad.
Yeah.
Gabriel Bonfim,
Uh he got exposed a little bit.
16-1. Didn't he win his last fight?
I think so, but who beat him?
That's a good
I
question.
can look
But
it up.
his last fight though, dude, he looked phenomenal.
I think he got exposed in one of them. But oh, Nicholas Dalby.
Okay, but Nicholas Dalby's a dog too.
He's a dog, junkyard dog.
Yeah, he's in that top 20 conversation as well. That's another fighter probably I left out because he's definitely in that top 20. But I mean, I but Gabriel Bonfim is like, yeah, I think that you need fights like that with Nicholas Darby to say,
Mhm.
okay, now I know what I need to get to that next level.
That
Now
veteran.
I saw the guy that's like, okay, he tested me, and not only that, he won. So it kind of puts you back. What I say, it grounds you again, right? You
Mhm.
realize you're not the big dog anymore.
Facts.
So,
They
but,
also
but
got
on the rise though, on the
on
rise.
the rise, yeah. And they also got Chaos Williams. That's another low key one. Ranked number 21 right now.
Yeah,
He'd be
yeah.
knocking dudes out. I think he's on a two. He's won 4 of his last 5.
Bro, I could talk this shit all day. Like I'm now thinking like Zellhuber versus Ribovics. Oh my
Mm-hmm.
fucking god,
That was a crazy one.
dude, that made
And
I
talk about like Ribovics is a complete fucking no name and made a
dude,
name for himself.
bro, like he walked through those punches, came through in that third round, and said, you know what? Damn, and he fucking got him. Like
He
that shit
got him.
crazy. And Zellhuber to fucking stand through the fire like that too. Like that's Zellhuber, that's another learning lesson, Like,
Facts.
all right, because we know how talented he is. I wrote this down the other day. Talent, fight IQ, um, cardio, and there's one and I think it was just like technique. You add all those into the equation, oh, you could be so fucking dangerous.
I'll add in another X factor, and it goes in with IQ, but like you
X
mapping out,
factor, yeah.
yeah, mapping out your career intelligently. Don't take fight like okay. I'll give you an example. Buckley, he got a lot of shit because after the Nursultan win in his hometown, UFC offered him Ian Gary,
Mm.
um, and then he turned him down because it was too quick of a turnaround. People are like, you ducked him, but I'm like, hey, you have to look out for yourself. And some of these guys just take fights real quick. They're not really mapping it out. You got to map it out very carefully.
Yeah, there's I completely agree with that because you can kind of look at some fighters who maybe have fought too much, like Bulk. He maybe should have not taken that second Islam fight.
No, not at all. Fuck the
But
money.
yeah, but as a competitor, I can see it too. It's like, nah, I'm gonna get in there. But it was really short notice, wasn't it?
Yeah, that
Very short.
was a little bit too much of the competitor taking over for him.
Yeah, it
Yeah.
was. And there's another fighter, two guys that on the welterweight. God, they're actually fighting. They're both fighting each other. I think it's on the. I'm looking it up real quick too. Um, Not him. Renat in the welterweight divisions, 21-1-1, I believe,
Right.
fighting Rizobov.
Yeah, that's the guy who Buckley just beat.
Uh, yeah, did he beat him?
Yeah, that's the guy he beat.
You're right, huh?
Nursultan. He beat Nursultan, that big old 6'5"
Yeah,
dude.
yeah.
Yeah.
It went to a decision. Okay, okay.
Lost a unanimous decision.
Yeah,
But he
okay.
beat the homie SD Dumas.
Yeah, he did. He did.
Dumas is my homie though.
Is he?
Yeah, I like him. I fuck with him.
No, those two guys too. I'm interested to see how that because that's gonna put one of those guys in the top 15 as well. There's what the UFC has created, bro. They got this like they got fucking literally cocaine just growing, dude. Like
Yeah,
just like different fields of like you're like,
they
all right,
do.
get this guy and let's put him, and let's get this guy and let's put him.
It's so hard to stay on top these days.
It's and then when you add this Dana White Contender Series to the mix, it's crazy, bro.
I was even thinking as far as like how hard it is to stay on top. The UFC probably loves that because it's like in boxing, right? You got to pay these guys for 20 fights before they get to the title fight. Here, you pay them for like 3 fights, then they get the belt. They have like 3 more fights or something like that, and then they're out. Like Pereira is almost out. They paid him. They made so much money off of him, but he's almost out. So like I
Like
feel like
his
they
contract,
finesse it. What?
like his contract.
Age wise, like he's got a couple years left.
Okay, got you.
So they have this perfectly like mapped out where it's like even as far as the short term, like let's just get them up there, make as much off them as quick as we can. But it seems like they're also getting with not paying them as much. So then they
That's
kind of
one.
reach the pinnacle of the career, but that's why they walk away with nothing.
Yeah, it's almost, yeah, I get what you're saying, because it's almost like an algorithm, right? You're like, all right, we got these 10 champions, they got X amount of years left. But over here on this side, we got these upcomers right here between the ages of 25 and 30 who will probably be future rising champions as well. So we know how to get them to this point.
Mm-hmm.
Start fucking rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
Here's another even example, right? Darren Till, how many fights did he have? Like he got like 4 fights till he got to the title. Then he had a few after that, but he fell off. It's like, how do you make a lifetime's worth of money in 8 UFC fights? You
Yeah,
can't.
yeah, yeah.
So I think that's what I was saying. Sandbag these boys. Like Kamzat, sandbag his ass, dude.
Yeah, and I think too, it goes back to the fighters being strategic as well. Like to have someone really sit down with you and map everything out. A lot of these guys don't have someone just to like map it out for them. You know, they're
Right.
just
Proper
kind of,
rest. Very
yeah, they're just
important.
kind of shooting at the hip and saying, okay, well, fuck it, I'm a fighter.
Right.
Now you can kind of, what they did to Aljo when we saw that UFC documentary on Roku,
Facts.
and Hunter was like, yeah, come on, you want to fight, right? You want
Tiki
to,
goes in.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like he like in Aljo Lab now looking back on it, like, fuck, dude, maybe I should have fucking just like waited,
Yeah.
rested, got to that point where I had, I felt like back on it again.
Should I drop a bomb on you right now?
Right.
That guy who was Aljo's manager,
Yeah.
representing him in that, who kind of basically didn't speak up for him. You're the manager. You're supposed to be like, nah, dude, we ain't doing this.
Right.
But he's in with the UFC. That's the guy. Tiki goes in. That's the guy who Sean Strickland is accusing of grooming young women and getting his dick sucked by one of his gym members' girlfriends.
Hold on. Hold on. Wait. What? What?
Yep.
We got a Diddy on our hands?
Dude, yes. In
What's
fact, when Sean saw the Diddy allegations, Sean said, they're not all Diddy's, they're all Tiki's. Because his name is Tiki Gozen.
I don't even know what to say.
There's not much to say. It's hot fire right now. That is the hottest fire
I'll leave you with
touch.
I'll leave you with this.
All right.
Every industry in an entertainment world, from the lowest level to the highest levels, have that same problem. From Diddy to what you just said right now, from what Sean Strickland was calling out, with fucking that dude, Kevin, fucking with the interview with that one fighter, and then he just kind of submits what the guy was talking about was a coach had fucking groomed like someone in the gym and shit. Mm-hmm. This shit's happening across the nation, not only in our country, and probably every country, every city. At some level, we're seeing it now at the highest levels with, Epstein and fucking the producer that did the movies and shit. Diddy. I mean, bro, this shit just, that's systemic too. And not enough people are speaking up for our women. That goes, let's, leave it what Buckley and in DC was talking about it. We have a culture of taking advantage of women and not enough men protecting. Mm-hmm. We all have mothers, we all have sisters, we all have family members. And I think that as men, we need to help create more awareness for women when it's happening and calling motherfuckers out, and you said, you don't want to call names. I know personal people in my life where I see them do certain things. I'm like, dog, stay the fuck way over there.
Yeah.
Stay the fuck over there, homie. Don't even fucking walk on the same street I'm walking on. I don't even want to hear that I heard that you said that shit because, nah, bro, that shit's not acceptable. And so, if that's true, what Sean Strickland's saying, call that motherfucker out, call the cops. And, even like with the Pereira accusation, if that was true, someone needs to get the cops involved right now and start fucking, this girl doesn't need to be her own detective.
Yeah. But I don't know how to handle that one, to be honest.
That's a weird one because it's the way she presented it, and then her friend came out and said, opposed what she was saying as well. Mm-hmm. None of us know what happened behind closed doors, but the way she went about it almost like disregards, loses all your credibility.
Yeah.
If she would have said, "Hey, I approached the cops. I'm shameful for what happened. I'm embarrassed. But I need to get the detectives involved. They can go look at fucking footage and camera footage and shit."
See them coming out of the hotel room.
Right. Like if that was if go get an attorney. There's a lot of steps you can put in place. Don't go to TikTok University and TikTok fucking police academy and try to solve the case there.
Right.
That doesn't make sense. I could give a fuck if she's OnlyFans. I can give a fuck if she's a stripper. Do whatever the fuck you want to do. But if you want to start throwing accusations, and if he really did do it, then he should be behind bars.
I agree. But yeah,
nothing is what has panned out.
nothing.
I mean, I'm sure some cop in that city heard about it.
Yeah. There's a little bit. I listened to her shit. It's a little bit of her just being dumb. Like, you just got like, dude, she basically told, like, I don't know if you listened to it, bro, but like told her friends to leave the room because Alex was upset. Like, fuck Alex if he's upset. I'm out of this bitch.
Yeah.
Fuck?
And you know what? There have been plenty of situations where people get put in a circumstance and they don't really know what to do.
I get it. Especially if you're a woman, but and
there,
uneducated, you don't know what he will do.
Right. There are. Now, if you guys are already making out and you guys are already hooking up and
and then you're like, hey friend, leave the room. What do you think that guy thinks?
And if it led to something and it led to something that you weren't comfortable with, and then you want to go say something after the fact, there's a lot of gray areas, that if a police department and detective really wanted to break it down, they could start going through cell phones, video footage, testimony, start, doing an actual investigation. That for you to say, hey, I want to do an investigation. I'm going to go talk to the hotel and go get fucking footage. Like, there's plenty of attorneys that would want to take the case.
I feel like don't you just go to the police station after that happens to you and you do like a thing and then like you get your thing swabbed?
And here's the thing. Yes, but here's the thing. Like, a lot of women in that position, they feel shameful, right? So
yeah.
They don't want to. So that's what I mean. There's so many gray areas to this, and you lose credibility because you didn't at least take one of 10 actions. Start with one.
Yeah. Not TikTok.
Yeah. And I get it. Nowadays, that's kind of like the new wave of how you put information out there, but there's a lot of levels. That the women that are standing up against P. Diddy didn't go to TikTok and start to say, hey, I'm doing an investigation on my own. It's been a long fucking investigation that has accumulated to all these things and all these testimonies to now they say, hey, attorney, we're going to arrest your guy, bro. And these are the reasons why. Be prepared. We want to know where he's at. Because then you get to that level of the investigation and you go to I forgot the trial before the trial when you can say, hey, we're actually going to have these charges against him. And people are, they said, yes, we could take this to court, but none of that has happened. Now, what? It just falls to the wayside. If something did happen and we have a predator out there, nothing, and so even with like Sean Strickland was calling out fighters too, like, bro, across the United States, there's predators in these gyms.
Right.
Been doing it for years.
It's been happening. It's part of the sport. I mean, yeah, you hear some other shit. I'm not even going to name drop, but you'll hear some active fighters, female fighters.
No,
who they claim like in the UFC right now, former champions.
I believe it. It's
like a joke, but it's not. It's a little bit of one of those things.
Well, no, in it goes back to like, systemic, like men have been getting away with it and you've been able to shove it under the rug. But like, oh, he just, she put herself in that position.
Right.
She knew what she was doing when she stayed after for her own class.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Hey, I got you. Because of the time, I'm gonna fuck it up if I don't get this in the title. So
yeah,
Alex Pereira, Khalil Rountree. You got a prediction to tomorrow or Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm gonna take Alex Pereira. I think that I was thinking about it. Khalil is training for what? What do you think Khalil is really looking out for?
Well, he's going to be striking with him, he's claiming, and he's not really looking to take him down unless he gets rocked, he said.
So, I think it's that everybody's looking out for that left hook, right? that
Left
like
hook,
I
maybe
think,
some calf kicks.
I think he's coming with the head kick.
Well, I was just talking to Lorenz. Lorenz said that he thinks he could possibly set it up with the low calf kicks, and then once he deadens his leg and he's worried about it, wrap it up high. But Lorenz is actually leaning towards a striking knockout, like a punching knockout.
I mean, these motherfuckers they're gonna bang it out.
Yeah,
That's what's
no
make
way
it,
it goes a distance.
no, that's what makes it so fun. And that Alex Pieta has a chance right now to continue to build his legacy. And Khalil is getting an opportunity of almost of a lifetime. He's not some chump. He could knock you out. So it's interesting to see if he capitalizes on the opportunity to say, hey, I am the new champion, but I do have Pieta.
Yeah, I got Alex too. I can see Roundtree knocking him out. I think it's a very likely it could happen, but mostly I'm leaning towards Pereira.
I wouldn't put
Also,
my paycheck on it. You know what I mean? Yeah, of
yeah,
course it could happen, but I think I think it's just his time right now. He's laser focused. I love he doesn't have too many outside antics. He just I'm a legend. I
right.
think that's where his mindset's right now.
And we'll end it like this. I'll give you my take on it, and then you give me your
Yeah.
response. Roundtree, I think it was actually a big miss for him to be so committed to striking because you're just giving Alex that closure versus you hear it a lot, like being worried about the takedown changes things a lot. And he's the real MMA fighter. I think you got to speak to the sport, man, at this stage in the game. You're the MMA fighter. You came in this in MMA. I know you like Muay Thai, but you're a mixed martial artist at the end of the day. I think you should capitalize on that on some Khabib shit, right? Khabib is always the MMA guy. And I think that was a big miss for him to be like, I'm not going to take him down. It's not me. Bro, you're MMA. You are going to fight him in MMA. Fuck him up, take him down, throw him, kick him, whatever you got to do. It's MMA.
Habib, Bilal, Dricus,
MMA.
Marab. Marab, that's what Aljo should have done. Marab capitalized. We already know what Islam can do.
Right.
Bilal was smart, took him down. Dricus fucking gets a tap. You know, like
kickboxer. Dricus is a kickboxer as well, and he got the tap.
You know, and so there's something to be said. What you just said, it's a full round game, right? Striking is a piece of it. The ground is another piece of it, and so yeah, I mean, I'm a completely with you. If I was Khalil, I'd be like, I'm gonna take this motherfucker down, hold him down, and beat his ass up on the ground, make his ass try to get the fuck up.
Right.
But
so that's that. But all right, bro. All right. Hey, that was good. We can definitely do UFC 308. So if you want to do that for your channel, let me know.
Yeah, I was gonna say, let's maybe do that next week. Our Wednesdays, like around 4, usually are really good for me.
Okay.
How are Wednesdays for you?
Wednesday at 4 is fine for me next week.
The other thing I was gonna say too is I forgot. Have you interviewed Bryan Battle?
No, I'm trying to get him on because he be beefing with Buckley.
Okay.
So I'm trying to get him on, but we'll see.
Someone had told me about his manager. Have you reached out to his manager at all? Jason, I think.
No, is it Jason House?
I think so, yeah.
I mean, I've tried a couple times with other fighters through Jason. Maybe I wasn't as big time then, or maybe I can try again. But honestly, dude, I don't get much from any of the managers. Even Buckley's manager, I've tried to hit him up for exclusives, and he sees my shit and never responds.
You know, it's weird to see, like Kevin, for example, like being able to line some of these interviews, and then you have someone like yourself that's doing the same thing, and we're not able to at least get like, hey, yeah, I think that's a good idea. Like, I don't know, it's so.
I agree, dude. I tried to get Kevin Lee on too because I saw Kevin got him on, and I was disgusted that Kevin Lee went on there. And Kevin, I can't get a fucking response from Kevin Lee. I don't know what's going on.
It's so weird, bro.
It gets it's the Twitter mentions. He puts out this thing, but I refuse to do it. This isn't my style. Okay, you're gonna get me. These guys, it's so against it. These guys go on social media begging for interviews, and I don't do that shit, dude. Like, I'm not gonna go on your Instagram live and beg for an interview. I'm not gonna make a post and say, give me 125 likes so I can interview Mayhem Miller. If that's what you're gonna do, dude, go for it. But
I'd rather happen organically and naturally. And you know, I think the Angela Hill was a good example, organic, naturally. I love that. I love that story. I'll just say it for everybody if you record the clip.
Mhm.
I was with Perry Punch. I was like, bro, isn't that Angela Hill? I was like, yeah, I think it is. And I was like,
Yeah.
hold on, I'm gonna be right back. I was like, no, we saw her go up and I saw her come back down. I was like, hold on, I'm gonna go say what's up to her real quick. And you know, when I had a chance to go introduce myself, got the manager's email, like you should send him an email like, hey, it was great meeting you. I'd love a chance to introduce you guys and bring you down to the station. We live in the same city. Responded, set up a time, and it happened. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, I love those type of stories.
So you actually met the manager that night too?
Adam, yeah, yeah.
Okay. There you go. I guess you got to meet these guys in person then. That's the hard thing. The social media, the internet, I think only takes you so far.
Yeah.
Unless you're going to be an MMA guru type, which I think I'm about to start working a little bit, not dissing like that, but the more you grow the YouTube following is what, like, if you got a big YouTube channel, I think they're more likely to come on. The fighters, they want the clout too a little bit. You can't blame them.
If you get to a point, they can't deny you.
Yeah, but speaking of that, Kevin, that's why it's fucking crazy.
Yeah, I don't get it either. But I will say this, like, if you think about it, this is what clicked for me. This is like, you can record it, you cannot record it. In the rap world of what we see within like the Adam 22s of the world, right? The bloggers of the world on YouTube, there's a whole world of just like OG guys that got out of prison and all they do is tell prison stories. And I'm there watching them, bro. And I'm like, I'm sucked in. I'm like, oh, damn, this story is fucking crazy. But this dude's a killer and shit. Like, what the fuck? But it's because of the personality, the charisma, and that people watch it for. Because they want to know about the streets, or they want to know about, like, they were involved in it. Then I was watching Chael, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, why the fuck am I watching Chael? Why do I love Chael?
I love Chael.
Yeah. Highest level. So that gives him the credibility. That goes back to like an OG in prison. Highest level of credibility because you went to prison, right?
He was in the octagon.
Yeah. Two guys different sides of the spectrum, right? But they got such big YouTube channels because they're so credible in whatever they did. And you could take that with any aspect of whatever world you walk into. A food blogger. Oh, he was a top chef at fucking so-and-so, restaurant.
Right.
I'm watching. But then you add a personality into it, and then you add an opinion to it. That's going to draw all the people in because, oh, you have an opinion on X, and now people are tapping in to hear what you think of it. What does Chael do all the time? He's dropping all his opinions, his flow of it. You know what I mean? And so that day, a ding kind of went off. I was like, oh, okay, I get it. Like, you just need to have those type of three. Because even when I watch Kevin, bro, he's so fucking bland.
Fuck that guy.
Dude, he's just so bland, bro. It's so like monotone for me. Like, hey, how are you doing?
Dude, I'm telling you, he's on a fucking Xan. He's on one of those Percocets that they gave him because he had a fucking shoulder surgery. Dude, I know everything, bro. You don't gotta tell me.
I don't know. Hey, do you?
Hey, you gonna tell me? I'll tell you right now.
You know what?
That boy's on a Percocet or two.
I'm not gonna say he's not. You know what I mean? Like,
laying in his fucking bed, head on a goddamn pillow. Grow the fuck up, dude. I'm your daddy, boy.
We will tell this story too. How is it that we meet 10 other guys at the Bellator event and don't really know any of them? Everybody had a crazy Kev story.
Yeah, facts.
How is that possible?
And then he comes in my comments. It's like, oh shit, we just talked about him. I can't take this L right now. So I had to go at him.
It makes that goes to, and for I see people that support someone like that. It's like, if there's 10 people, if we went somewhere else and 10 people start talking shit about DJ MTK, maybe DJ MTK needs to be looked at. Like, maybe I need to, like, okay, what am I doing here? You know what I mean? But that's telling within itself. We didn't go and like try to make these guys say something.
I didn't know you before this. Yeah.
And we meet all these other guys from all different parts of the world, country. You know what I mean? And they have almost one of those guys. I forgot what his name was. He was super cool, and he even said, "It's like, dude, I'm not confrontational, but if I saw him,
Dylan, right, the young buck."
Maybe I think it was Dylan, but that's just telling in itself is like, most of these people, they're not confrontational. You and me are probably the most confrontational guys that were at the event. You know what I mean? Like, not in like a bad way, but like if someone were to say something like, "Dude, what?"
Yeah.
And what's up? Like I
Facts.
have a problem with authority. The other day, I got in a fight with the mailman. He tried to my mail and shit. I'm like, dog, that's my mail. Like, what are you gonna do? Arrest me, motherfucker? Give me my mail. Like, I don't have
Yeah.
shit.
He's like, I need an ID, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, and that's why I told him, I was like, if you're gonna say something, ask for my ID then.
Yeah.
Don't just like tell me I can and can't do things. Like even with cops, I have a problem with. So
Facts.
that's a whole nother conversation. But
Yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
I had a lot of fun, bro.
Me too.
The next I like our synergy though.
Facts. I thought it was gonna go this way. So I was like, I've been thinking about it.
It was so natural though. You know what I mean? Like we're not, I hate those things I watch where it's like, it's just so cookie cutter. Like
Right.
it makes me cringe almost. You know what I mean? But like you and I just like not even prepping anything, just came off the bat like that.
Facts. I only have like some topics here. Dude, we touched on like a few of them. But next time, let's touch on fucking rolling 40 Crip, 4
Okay.
extra. Because I talked to him. Did you see that?
No, I didn't see that.
Bro, I got him and Phil Rowe on a fucking Instagram call.
Really?
I got them on Instagram call. They talked for like 10 minutes. We'll chop it about it next time, I guess. Cause
But watch it. It's on your IG then?
yeah, but I screen recorded it low key. But bro, I think something about it being through Instagram, I couldn't get the audio. So I just posted it and I talked about it. But if you scroll through, you'll see me. There's a video where I talked about it. I'll tell you about it.
Do you save your IGs afterwards?
I screen recorded it and I saved it, but when I opened it, there's zero audio. But it was a phone call. It wasn't a live. So because they wanted it private. So really, even if they record the audio, I couldn't even like post it.
Okay, okay.
But I talked to 4 extra for about 15 minutes before I got them on the call. And he was telling me all his shit about how he wants to get into the UFC. And he told me he fought in jail 20 times in a day. So well, that's a little teaser for the next one. And also we'll talk about Marvin Vittori dropping the N-word.
Yeah, that's out of pocket too.
He's tripping, dude.
Out of pocket.
Out of pocket. All right, bro. Peace, bro. Talk to you soon.
You too. Have fun.